lower belly activation part 2. So if you haven't done the first part, please do that for about a month because it helps build like prerequisites for this. Today we're actually going to start with pelvic shift dead bugs. So we're going to be laying your back. I'll show you a couple different angles of this one, but you'll lay down on the ground, kind of like, always feel free to wiggle, kind of notice like if one of your tailbone, or sorry, not tailbone, but one of like the sides of your butt is pushing you to the ground more or stuff like that. When you're ready, you're going to tuck your tailbone under and lift your legs up. So traditional dead bugs, you'd start out right here and you can move around. For today, you're actually going to put one hand on your quad, one hand on your hamstring. Your toes are going to stay flexed up and your knees are going to try and stay in line while you keep your butt scooping under. And you're going to push on this leg and pull on this leg. So you're doing that as far as like tension, right? But you're trying to keep your legs level. So you'll take a big breath in and you'll hold as you create the tension and then relax. Take another big breath in, kind of hold and relax. So feel free to change your breathing on this and like play around with what you feel best with. The main thing is think about your inhale filling up your rib cage and your exhale contracting it, right? So the whole point is to get movement in there. Just from this angle so you can kind of see, right hand is on the front, left hand is on the back. I'm pushing with my right and pulling with my left. Legs stay level, and then same thing on the other side. So over time, you'll start to develop a kind of a feel for like which side's harder. So like my left leg is harder to hold when I push on it versus my right leg, which comes into play later because that'll kind of give you an idea about what side is maybe having a little bit of dysfunction or just needs a little bit more strength. Everyone's a little bit crooked. That's just kind of how life is, right? So do like 6 to 8 of those. Next, we're going to do split stance teapots. So you're going to start split stance position. So make sure your butt is under your ribs. You don't want to be back here. And then teapot position, you're going to reach both of your arms kind of like behind your ears, up and back. If you can't do that yet, that's fine, but work towards having your biceps in line with your ears. Energy in your fingers, so act like you're kind of holding an imaginary beach ball. You're going to inhale, think about raising your rib cage up as you inhale and lean over to the left. Exhale back to center. Inhale up and over to the right. Exhale back to center. So, other side, you're going to inhale up and over. Exhale back to center. Exhale back to center. So what you're doing with this, the first thing, you kind of wiggled your pelvis into place, woke up all the muscles around in here, and kind of like gave your body a good starting position, why it's super important to do those. The split stance teapots, you're now going to challenge that position a little bit as far as holding your hips and then challenge your abs as far as like stretching and moving through them, right? So that's the next thing that we're working on is that stretch. We're going to do wide stance trunk rotations. On the teapots, 6 to 8 per side. Breathe every time. Breathing isn't optional. Wide stance trunk rotations. So wide stance, this might be too wide for you and that's totally fine, right? So do where you feel supported. You want to make sure that the bowl of your pelvis, so imagine you have like a little bowl right here, right? If you go like this, water's falling out forward. If you go like this, water's falling out back. So you want to try and have happy medium, keep your bowl level, and then you're going to have those energy hands again, right? Act like you're holding something, and as I'm going to turn to the left, so my left arm is going to reach over, I'm turning my thumb down as I reach, and then bringing it back, turning down as I reach, and then bringing it back. So you have a lot going on here. As I'm reaching with my left, my right arm is kind of doing a row as I go back, and then exhale back to center, inhale as you reach, exhale back to center. So super important to focus on breathing. I don't really have a preference if you do the opposite of what I just said, but breathe as you do it. The reason why I said inhale as you reach is because you're trying to fill up this whole side of your body. And if you're wondering why we're doing this when it's lower belly, it's challenging the stability of your lower belly. And usually if you've had a hard time activating like this little donut right here, that means something's been doing its job, which is most likely psoas. So if you feel like you have like ropes right here, it's probably that your psoas have been doing too much. It's not like you're doing anything wrong. Your body's trying to help you compensate, so don't feel bad, just work on it. So also what happens when your psoas gets tight, it's kind of like right at your hips deep in there, and then it goes back at an angle, right? So if that part is shortened, it tends to kind of like hunch you over, and then no one's gonna wanna walk around like this. So then we end up doing this, right? And then that elevates our rib cage, but this is still tight. So then we're end up kinking our spine and shortening our QL muscles back there. And then it just adds up onto all this stuff, right? So you're doing a lot with that wide stance rotation. As you're doing this, you're stretching your psoas through here, kind of activating your oblique so that can do its job versus your psoas taking over. And as you're reaching here, you're also stretching your QL back here. So it does play a role in lower belly activation. That's why we're doing it. The final one is a knee side plank with fascial friction. So it's a side plank and you're gonna like pet your stomach. The reason we're doing side planks is if you have a hard time activating your lower belly, if you do crunches, you're probably gonna get that weird little dinosaur ridge. Not that you're weird, but it looks weird, right? Or you're gonna be using your psoas, which is still gonna give you that little dinosaur ridge. So side planks allow the abs to actually come together because you have your linea alba right in the middle. It's connective tissue. It gets stretched when people have babies. It gets stretched when you have gut distension and like digestive issues. And that's a whole other thing that we'll talk about another time. But anyway, side planks is how we're gonna start. So you'll get your elbow right under your shoulder and kind of like push the world away from you. So you're really engaging that shoulder. You feel supported in your side body. And this might already be challenging just holding that position with your hips on the ground. So if it is, start there. Otherwise, I'm gonna suggest knee plank. So you'll go up into a plank. This hand is now going to come down and kind of like hug your body, and then you're gonna pull the fascia along. So you're basically petting your stomach. The point of this is if you've been having a hard time activating the center of your belly, it probably means that it's a little bit pulled apart, or like diastasis recti is the official term, and your recti right here, diastasis just means pulling apart. So if you want more of a scientific explanation, go look it up. But basically your abs are coming apart, so we need to try and get them together. So that friction is gonna encourage your body to kind of meld them back together, but it takes time. So the first time you do it, you might not notice a difference, or you might. And this loops back in that first thing that we were doing, the pelvic shift dead bugs. My left side is way harder to do a side plank than my right side because my oblique on the left side is having some dysfunction, right? And I could tell that because my psoas that is supposed to help like engage your muscles when you're doing the pelvic shift dead bugs wasn't able to do it because my oblique was pulled off to the side and my psoas is doing a different job. So it's a way that you can kind of like know what's going on in your body. Also, take your time with these. Don't worry about like how many to do. I think I've said like 6 to 8 on most of them, or 6 to 10, whatever you feel. Like focus on what you feel. That's the important thing, and focus on your breathing. Let me know if you have any questions with these, and I hope they're helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.